All right, let's go ahead and solve some inequalities. We're going to write those solutions in set builder notation and also graph them on the number line. So the first one, we don't need to solve it because C is already isolated. So we're going to first write the set builder notation over here. We get that C such that C is less than 65. And then to graph this inequality, we're going to go ahead and have two numbers on our number line. I'm going to have 0 and 65. Those are the only two numbers I need, really, to kind of position my numbers. And then realize we're going to have an open circle over here because we're not including 65 in our solution. So I'm going to put an open circle. And all of our numbers are going to be less than 65. So I'm going to go ahead and shade in to the left of that number line because that's where all the numbers are going to be less than 65. All right, go ahead and try the next one on your own. Pause the video now. Okay, go ahead and check your work over there. Pay close attention to your open and closed circles here. Okay, let's go ahead and actually start solving for those variables here. So notice C is not isolated. I have subtraction by 12 onto C. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that subtraction by adding 12 to both sides. And then I just simplify. I am not going to switch my sign because I'm just adding to both sides here. And when I simplify my right-hand side, I get that C is greater than 77. So my set builder notation here is just going to be the set of C such that C is greater than 77. Just like that. Let me go ahead and put those little lines on those 7s to distinguish it from the greater than symbol here. Now let's go ahead and graph it. I just need two numbers, 0 and 77. I'm going to have an open circle on 77 because it's not included in my solution. And I'm looking at all numbers that are greater than 77. So I'm going to draw my arrow to the right because that's where all the numbers are greater. You're going to go ahead and do the next one on your own. Pause the video now. All right, go ahead and check your work here. Let's go ahead and move on to more complicated problems with variables on each side. So, looking at this one, realize our goal is first to get all the variables on one side and all the constants on the other side. So, looking at this, I'm going to choose the smaller variable term. In example A, it's going to be 12n because it's smaller than the 13n on the other side. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract it so I can get rid of it from the left-hand side. And I'm going to go ahead and do that to both sides. Realize my inequality is going to stay the same because I'm just doing a subtraction here on both sides. Your inequality only switches directions when you multiply or divide by a -1 on both sides. So, simplifying this, I'm just going to have 1n onto the right-hand side. And I'm going to actually go ahead and rewrite this so that n, the variable, is written first. And we have n greater than or equal to -4. So I'm not changing the inequality. I'm just rewriting it so that the variable comes first. Because in set builder notation, the variable always is going to be first, just like this right here. So I have my two numbers, -4, 0, relative to each other on the number line. And I'm going to have a closed circle on that -4. And because everything is greater, my arrow is going to go to the right, just like that. Go ahead and try the next one on your own. Pause the video now. All right, go ahead and check your work and make sure you've shown me all the steps. Here we go. Now, in this inequality, we have a fractional coefficient for that variable d. So I'm going to rewrite my equation just like that. And remember, to get rid of that fractional coefficient, we just multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this side by 5/3 with that negative on there. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. So to get rid of that fractional coefficient, we're just multiplying by the reciprocal. I'm going to turn this into a fraction as well. And realize over here, -5/3 times that -3/5 just give us +1. And this is very important. We multiplied by a negative number. And remember what happens when we multiply by a negative number. We have to switch the direction of the inequality. Okay? So make sure you remember that. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, switch the inequality. And then we're going to go ahead and just simplify out the right-hand side. So 6 times negative 5 divided by 3 is going to give me negative 10. Just like that. My set builder notation is the set of all d such that d is less than or equal to negative 10. On our number line, I'm going to have negative 10 and 0. I'm going to have a closed circle on that negative 10. And because everything is less than that, my arrow is going to be to the left. Go ahead and do B on your own. Pause the video now. All right, go ahead and check your work. The rest of the problems are word problems, and we will do them together in the next section of this activity.